What's up, guys? On this video, I wanted to show you an in-depth view of my portfolios and the strategies behind each. Um, I can see how it could get a little confusing on why I have two different portfolios and what I'm doing with the same stocks on each. In this video, I hope to shed some light on that and break it down on exactly what I'm doing and what I'm thinking with each of these. So I'll go ahead and start with my long-term strategy. So this one, I plan on just buying stocks and holding them for the long term, right? So I'll go ahead and break it down for you guys. So I have real estate, bonds, funds. So like these are stocks that I plan on receiving a dividend from, as you can see by the name, right? Receiving dividend from, and then reinvesting those dividends back into the portfolio. Okay, so a lot of these are monthly payers. And yeah, I'm getting some market gains, right? But what I'm most concerned about is this right here, this earned dividends, right? So we can go to my all-time and we'll go to my total. And I've already received $7 in dividends, and it's only been a month that I've had this portfolio up. And I plan on keeping money in it and reinvesting the dividends that it pays me. And eventually I want to earn, you know, over $100, $200, $300 a month just from the dividends alone, not, excluding the capital gains, right? So that's my portfolio on this. So I buy only companies that I believe in, okay? And this will be linked in the description, so you can go through and look at all the stocks that I trade with, all the stocks that I believe in, all the stocks that I think are going to do well and that are positioned for success right now. And you can also see the weights on each, right? So I'll just quickly go through here. So like you can see telecom, AT&T, Verizon, these are the two big players. Comcast, they do cable, and Shaw Communications, which is a little bit of international exposure in Canada. They also pay a monthly dividend. So this is just all mainly set around dividends, right? So I'll go to my research tab here and then my pies and then my dividend pie. And you can see all the stats here. So a 3.866% yield, a very low expense ratio, 56 holdings. And you can also go into each one of these and it'll tell you the dividend yield and expense ratio on each one, right? So real estate obviously is going to have a little bit more dividend. But yeah, this is my strategy. It's simply just to hold it, treat it as like a house or as like some sort of asset that just generates me income, right? So like a house pays you rent, the tenants pay you rent. My portfolio pays me dividends. That's what I think about this portfolio. I won't sell a stock unless they cut their dividends. That's why I purposely picked companies that I believed in. Only if they cut dividends will I ever sell them in this pie, right? In this portfolio. So now I want to move on to my Robinhood portfolio. So this one's entirely different. My strategy, everything with this one's entirely different. However, it still uses all the same stocks that this one uses, right? So I only want to use companies that I still believe in. You can still swing trade companies that you believe in, just trying to maximize your growth on that. So with this strategy, what I'm essentially trying to do is buy low, sell high on each stock, right? So I want to buy low, sell high, and then whenever the market drops again, I don't want to be in the stock when the market drops right here, right? I don't want to be in it. I don't want to be in it when it drops. I want to buy when it's low, sell when it's high, and then sell out of that position when it's high. When it drops down low, buy low, and then sell high again. That's my strategy on this one. It'll maximize returns. You can see well over 30, 40% a year doing this kind of strategy, right? So that's my goal with this. And I wanted to point out Centerpoint. This was a recent video I did, and it was one of the only stocks that was up, and it was up almost 2% today. And I think that trend is going to continue. We can go to the week view. It's going up just like I predicted. I think that Centerpoint is going to be a great buy. So we'll go back to my overall portfolio. So I wanted to discuss the strategy on this one. So with this portfolio, I'm buying low, selling high, as I mentioned, right? But I'm also going to have 50% of my capital in this portfolio in exchange traded funds that track the market. Okay, so SPHD, SPYG, SPYD, Noble, these are all exchange traded funds that track the market that also pay a high dividend. So I get a little bit of that monthly income, and my portfolio stays stable, right? That's the key here. If something goes wrong on your portfolio, on one of your trades, and you have 50 to 60% in one trade, and your indicators failed you that time, the market drops, it's really bad when you see your entire portfolio just drop, okay, and you have limited diversity and limited exposure. So that's what my plan is here. I don't know if I explained that well, but I don't want to see huge swings in my portfolio. I don't want to see huge dips and mountains. I like the look of a steady trend upwards, but I'm trying to maximize that trend with the other half. The other half is the strategy that I've been discussing with you guys in the previous videos on when I take buy signals, when I take sell signals. And that's what I'm doing with these stocks up here. I buy when they're low and I sell when they're high, and I try to maximize the profit I get on each. Okay, so I have half in exchange traded funds that track the market that I don't sell. I do check the indicators on them and I buy when they're low, but I don't sell when they're high. I simply hold it for the long term to get dividends, to smooth out my portfolio so it doesn't have huge mountains and huge valleys, right? And then with the other half, I do active investing. I like to look at the stock market during the day. I like to make trades. I like to buy stocks. I like to sell stocks, trying to maximize that return. So that's my strategies with these portfolios. Um, this one is my long term. You can think of it as like a retirement kind of portfolio, but it's a taxable account. Um, and I think of it as like a house that just pays me rent, right? And I just keep contributing to that house every month, and it gets bigger and bigger. And on this one, I view it as kind of my active investing trading platform where I buy low, sell high, and I try to do the best I can to outmaneuver the market, if you will. Um, but the key here is to have at least half in exchange traded funds, so it smooths out this line. You don't have huge mountains and huge valleys, okay? Because it's really hard to get into investing and stay into investing when you make one bad trade and you put 50% of your capital of your portfolio into that one trade and it just plummets. That's really hard to see, and most people will just pull out and close their account totally, right? That's not what you want to see. I also wanted to mention that I only put about 5% to 10% of my capital into any one trade. So we can go to center point here. And as you can see, it's only 6% of my portfolio. I don't usually go less than 5% because it's just not worth it if it goes up. And I don't do more than 10% because then you're going to create those big valleys and those big mountains in your portfolio if you put more than 10% into any one stock while you're trying to use indicators to predict its future, right? That's what we're doing. So no more than 10%, no less than 5%, and half into exchange traded funds. That's the goal of this, right? And then in my other videos, I show you how to analyze stocks and how to know when to buy and how to know when to sell. And I go into analysis on all the stocks that I hold. Another key point with Robinhood is that I only use stocks that I buy in M1, right? So I only use stocks that I believe in. These, if you look, these are all the same stocks that I have in my M1 Finance pie. They're all the same because they're all companies I believe in, but I'm just trying to maximize my return with this portfolio. And with this portfolio, I'm simply holding them in the long term and having them pay dividends. So I hope you learned something. I hope you create strategies similar to mine. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.